The first thing Kwame feels is the cold. Not the chill of night air, but the deep, marrow-biting freeze of iron against bone. The shackle ring is so tight it has polished a mirror of blood and skin around his ankle, and in the pitch-black belly of the Crimson Wraith every heartbeat throbs against that metal like a drum counting down to something final. Somewhere above, water slaps the hull with the rhythm of a slow execution. He is 12 barely, and tonight he is supposed to die. Somewhere astern, a lantern swings on its hook, painting wild shadows across the timbers. Each pass of light reveals a tableau of living ghosts. Men chained wrist to wrist, eyes wide with the 1,000-yard stare of those who have already accepted the end. One man is muttering a prayer in Yoruba. Another is simply mouthing numbers, 1, 2, 3, as if counting heartbeats is the same as counting hopes. The air is thick with the stench of tar, sweat, and the sickly sweet rot of human fear that no amount of salt water can scrub away. Then footsteps, measured, deliberate, the unmistakable click of a flintlock being cocked. Captain Black Garrick descends the companionway like a storm cloud dressed in leather and steel. His boots strike each rung with the finality of a judge's gavel. Every breath he takes is a rasping growl that seems to scrape the inside of his own throat raw with rum and regret. In the lantern's swing, his face is a patchwork of scars and silver stubble, and his eyes, those eyes, are the color of a shark's underbelly when it rolls over to bite. He stops in front of Kwame. Silence blooms so complete Kwame can hear the blood in his ears. "Boy," Garrick says, voice low enough to carry only to the next eternity. "You believe in fate or coincidence?" Kwame's tongue sticks to the roof of his mouth. He has seen this man shoot a sailor for coughing during prayer. He has seen him laugh as sharks tore apart a merchant captain who refused to surrender. He has never seen him hesitate until now. Garrick kneels. The lantern halts mid-swing, casting their faces in a frozen tableau of gold and shadow. From inside his coat, the captain produces a small iron key, so tiny it looks like it should open a music box, not a manacle. The metal glints like a fallen star. "North by blood," Garrick whispers, pressing the key into Kwame's palm. "Remember that." The words make no sense, yet they land with the weight of prophecy. Somewhere above deck, thunder rolls. Not weather, cannons. The ship lurches. Chains rattle like skeletal applause. A voice shouts, "Sail ho!" Red pennant, black hull. And the rest is lost beneath the roar of the ocean clawing at the hull. Garrick's scarred hand closes over Kwame's for a single heartbeat, 2, then releases. The shackle clicks open with a sound softer than a sigh yet louder than any cannon. The iron falls away and Kwame's ankle burns as blood rushes back into starved veins. "Run," Garrick says, and the word is both command and confession. Run like the sea herself is hungry for your soul, because tonight she is. Kwame does not understand mercy. He has never been offered it. But instinct screams louder than confusion. He bolts toward the ladder, bare feet slipping on blood-slick planks. Behind him, Garrick stands slowly, drawing his cutlass with the resigned grace of a man who knows he has just set the world on fire. At the top of the ladder, wind hits Kwame like a slap. Salt spray stings his eyes. The deck is chaos. Shadows dueling with lantern light, pirates scrambling to load cannons that may already be aimed at their own hearts. Beyond the rail, the night ocean is a black mirror reflecting flames that haven't yet been lit. Another boom, closer this time. The deck tilts. Kwame clutches the rail, compass pressed against his chest so hard the glass cracks. The needle spins, then settles, pointing not north, not south, but straight at the heart of the approaching storm. He looks back once. Garrick stands at the foot of the ladder, cutlass lowered, eyes locked on Kwame with something that might be regret or might be hope. Over the howl of wind and gunfire, the captain's last words ride a whisper that should be impossible to hear yet cuts through everything. "Make the ocean remember." Lightning forks. In its white glare, the Crimson Wraith looks momentarily like a ghost ship already sailing into legend. Then darkness swallows everything. Kwame jumps. Cold water closes over him like iron reforged into mercy, and the world narrows to heartbeat and compass and the single truth that will define the next 13 years. Chains can break louder than cannons, if the right hand turns the key. Comment prompt flashes on screen. If you were staring down that ladder, would you run or would you stay and fight? Drop your answer below, because what Kwame chose next will rewrite the map of the Caribbean and break more than chains. Don't blink. The tide is rising. The deck tilts under Garrick's boots the way a drunk tries to stand on a coffin lid. 30 yards off the port bow, the night itself seems to split open. Black sails, blood-red pennant. 30, maybe 40. Guns glint like wolf teeth along the stranger's rail, and every one of them is already run out. The sea, which moments ago sounded like lullaby, now roars with the hunger of a chained god. Garrick's lungs forget how to breathe. He has spent 20 years teaching men to fear his shadow. Tonight the shadow turns and smiles back. Identify! The quartermaster shouts, voice cracking like green timber. No flag answers. Only the low, unhurried beat of war drums carried on the wind, dum-dum-dum, sinking with Garrick's pulse until they feel like the same dying heart. Silas grabs his sleeve, knuckles white. We can still run. Reef the topsails. Dive into the storm cell. Lose them in the rain. Run. The word tastes like copper. If they flee, they abandon the hold full of gold. The crew's cut, the legend of the Crimson Wraith. If they stand, they face the storm he spent 13 years pretending would never come. Flash. A boy's face in lantern light, ankle bleeding where iron used to be. Flash. A rusted compass spinning north. Flash. The soft click of a shackle falling open, and the whisper, make the ocean remember. Garrick blinks the memory away, but the boy's eyes are still there, superimposed on every wave. The drums stop. Silence falls so sudden the ship itself seems to hold its breath. Then a voice, carried across black water by a speaking trumpet, cuts through the night like a cutlass through sailcloth. Captain Black Garrick, you freed a slave. We came for the interest. Kwame. The name lands heavier than any cannonball. Garrick's hand drifts to the hilt of his cutlass, but the weapon feels suddenly ceremonial. A stage prop in a play where the ending was written the moment he turned that key. Silas whispers, orders. Garrick's mind races through impossible math. 30 guns versus their 18, fresh powder versus half-spent, veteran crews versus men already shaking. But numbers lie. The real equation is older than powder, guilt multiplied by years, compounded by every lash he ever ordered. The speaking trumpet again. Send the boy out, or we send the ocean in. Boy, as if Kwame is still 12. As if the last 13 years were a dream and Garrick can simply rewind the world. He looks at his crew, faces pale in lantern glow, eyes pleading for the miracle he's never believed in. They didn't sign up for justice. They signed up for gold and rum and the right song to die to. None of them expected to become footnotes in someone else's revenge ballad. Silas grips tighter. Captain, we can fight. We've fought worse odds. Have we? Garrick's voice is barely wind. Or have we just fought weaker men? A gust slams the ship. Rigging screams. Overhead, storm clouds boil, black on black, and the first needle of rain stings his cheek like a reminder of every tear he never shed. Choice crystallizes. Run and live with the ghost of a boy forever at his shoulder, or stand and maybe balance the scales. He steps to the rail. Salt spray coats his lips. Kwame! He shouts into the dark. You want me, come take me. Leave the crew out of it. Laughter drifts back. Not cruel, almost gentle. Already did, Captain. Choice is yours. Single duel on neutral deck, or broadside at dawn. No middle tide. Behind him, the crew murmurs. Some pray, some curse. A few reach for pistols they know won't matter. Garrick closes his eyes. Sees the boy's back disappearing into storm water. Sees the compass needle finally locking north, toward reckoning. He turns to Silas, voice steady now, stripped of everything but truth. Reef the topsails. Run up the white flag. Silas stares. You'll die. Maybe. But not tonight alone. Rain begins in earnest, drumming on the deck like judgment. Garrick walks aft, boots splashing, each step writing. The last line of a story he never meant to tell. At the break of the rail he pauses, pulls the rusted compass from his pocket, and for the first time in 13 years lets the needle spin free. Quivers, then points, not north, not south, but straight at the enemy's heart. He smiles, small and terrible. "North by blood," he whispers, and throws the compass overboard. It vanishes into black water, swallowed by the same ocean that once swallowed a boy. From the enemy deck, a single lantern flares, signal or invitation. Garrick can't tell anymore. Comment prompt flashes. If you were standing at that rail, would you run from your past or sail straight into it? Type your choice, because the tide turns in 60 seconds, and not everyone makes it to sunrise. Don't blink. The storm is almost here. The lantern swinging above the dual circle paints everything the color of old blood. Kwame steps over the rail and onto the crimson wraith as if the deck already belongs to him. 20 paces away, Garrick waits, cutlass loose in his hand, eyes older than the sea itself. Between them lies nothing but a single rust-flecked compass lying open on a barrel top, its cracked glass catching firelight like a dying star. Kwame's voice is quiet, almost conversational. "Still points north, Captain. Funny how iron remembers." Garrick's throat works, but no words come. Because the compass is not just a compass. It is a confession, and the night is ready to read it aloud. Flash, 13 years collapse into a heartbeat. Same ship, same deck, but the boards are scrubbed fresh and the sails belly with fair wind. A boy, barely 12, ribs sharp as ship's ribs, kneels in chains. Iron cuffs bite, skin raw, hope thinner than candle smoke. Pirates circle like gulls around carrion, wagering how long the kid will last in the Jamaican market. Garrick stands apart, flask to lips, eyes not on the boy but on the compass in his palm, needle twitching with every creak of the hull. One of the crew laughs. "He'll fetch 30 pieces at least. Young back, strong lungs." Garrick's knuckles whiten around the compass. 30 pieces. Enough to patch a sail, enough to buy another month of swagger. He flips the lid shut, click, and the sound is small, final. But the boy lifts his head. Eyes not pleading, calculating. In that instant Garrick sees something that makes him step back. The same restless hunger that once lived in his own mirror. Night falls. Storm clouds gather like unpaid debts. Below deck, the boy shivers, chains clinking a dirge. Garrick descends alone, lantern low. The crew is drunk on rum and future coin. No one notices the captain kneeling in filth, key trembling between scarred fingers. The lock opens with a click softer than conscience. Garrick presses the compass into the boy's palm. "North," he whispers, voice raw as rope burn. "Follow it until the world forgets my name." The boy, Kwame, stares, disbelief warring with something deeper. Recognition of a debt neither of them can name. Garrick's next words are almost swallowed by thunder. "Run. If you live, come back and show me the man I should have been." The boy vanishes into storm and darkness. Garrick stands alone, compass ticking like a second heart. Presence snaps back with the clang of steel. Kwame circles, cutlass low. "You told me to follow north. Took me 13 years to realize north wasn't a direction. It was a reckoning." Garrick's breath fogs the night air. "I freed one slave. You freed thousands. Guess that makes us even." Kwame's laugh is short, sharp. "Even? You unlocked a cage, Captain, then kept building cages for everyone else. I just made sure the doors stayed open." Another flash. Maroon camps hidden in blue mountains, fires flickering like fallen constellations. Kwame, older now, scar crossing his cheek like a map, stands before men and women once branded property. He raises the same compass, needle steady. "North is where they least expect us. They sail at midnight, taking ships not for gold but for bodies still in chains." Back on the wraith, Garrick lunges. Blades kiss, spark, part. Each parry is an argument across time. I gave you life versus you gave me purpose. In the lantern's stutter, Garrick sees not the admiral but the boy he set adrift, eyes still asking the question from 13 years ago. Was it mercy or cowardice? Kwame twists, disarms, sends Garrick's cutlass skittering across the deck. The compass topples after it, glass shattering, needle spinning wild as a compass freed from magnetism. For one suspended heartbeat it points nowhere, then settles, quivering, directly at Garrick's chest. The night holds its breath. Kwame's voice is almost gentle. I came back with an army, Captain, but I only needed one thing. He kneels, picks up the compass. Proof that the man who let me run is still inside the monster who kept running. Garrick's knees buckle. The deck tilts beneath him, not from waves but from the weight of a single truth. The boy he saved became the storm he feared, and every chain rattling tonight is a note in the song he started 13 years ago. Overhead, the first cannon of dawn fires, not in anger, but in announcement. The sun spills across the horizon like molten gold, and in its light Kwame offers not a blade but a hand. Choose, he says. End the story here, or help me write the next chapter. Comment prompt flashes who truly broke the chains, the pirate who unlocked them, or the boy who turned the key into a fleet. Answer now, because the tide is turning and forgiveness is a storm no hull can outrun. The deck boards are slick with rain and regret, and every drop that hits the planks hisses as if the ocean itself is warning them to stop. 40 cannons sit silent along both rails, crews poised like statues carved from gunpowder and fear. Above, storm clouds bruise the sky purple-black, and the only light comes from the lanterns swinging overhead, each arc painting the duelists in strobes of blood gold and shadow. Kwame circles left, bare feet silent, cutlass low. The blade is old iron, notched from a dozen battles, but tonight it gleams like new vengeance. Opposite him, Garrick's breath fogs the air. He's older, heavier, but desperation sharpens every reflex. Between heartbeats, the ship groans, timbers flexing as if bracing for impact. Steel kisses steel, clang, and the sound ricochets off the masts like a starting pistol. Kwame lunges. Garrick parries, riposts, blade whispering past Kwame's ear close enough to shave raindrops. Sparks scatter, brief stars born and gone. 20 feet away, the powder keg ticks. They built it together in the minutes before the duel. A barrel of black powder, fuse coiled like a serpent, set atop an open hatch leading to the magazine below. One wrong step, one wild slash, and the crimson wraith becomes a sun sinking itself. Tick. Kwame feints high, drops low, sweeping Garrick's legs. The older man stumbles, crashes shoulder first into the rail. Salt spray lashes his face. He tastes iron and storm. Tick. Garrick roars, charges, cutlass arcing in a silver blur. Kwame meets it edge to edge, muscle straining, the impact jarring teeth. For a frozen instant their blades lock, noses inches apart, breath mingling. Still time to end this, Garrick hisses. Time ended 13 years ago. Kwame answers and twists. Tick. Steel scrapes free. Kwame spins inside Garrick's guard, elbow cracking against the captain's ribs. Garrick staggers back, one step, two boot heels skimming the lip of the powder keg. The lantern's next swing shows sweat beading on his brow like tiny crystal beads of fear. Wind howls. The ship heels. The keg shifts, fuse sliding an inch closer to the lantern flame. Kwame lunges and slips. Rain has turned the deck into a mirror of black glass. His left foot shoots out from under him. He lands hard, cutlass spinning away. Garrick pounces, blade at Kwame's throat, point dimpling skin. Yield, Garrick pants. Kwame's eyes flick past him to the powder keg. The fuse is now a finger's breadth from the lantern's brass cage. Clock's ticking. Captain, Kwame whispers. Garrick's gaze follows. Understanding slams into him like a second storm. If either of them dies here, the keg tips, the fuse kisses flame, and every soul aboard dives into fire. Tick, a distant rumble rolls. Not thunder, but the sound of Kwame's fleet locking cannons in a silent promise. If the crimson wraith explodes, the pirate crew dies anyway. Tick, Garrick's blade wavers. For the first time in 20 years, he lowers steel without drawing blood. What do you want? Kwame rises slowly, palms open. The story ends with both of us breathing, or neither. Your choice. Tick, the fuse kisses the lantern cage. Sparks bloom, hiss, race. Kwame dives left. Garrick dives right. Hands meet the keg at the same instant, shoving it back from the brink. The barrel teeters on the hatch lip, balanced, swaying. Time stops. Above them, the storm splits open. Lightning forks straight into the mainmast, wood exploding in a shower of burning splinters. Fire rains onto the deck. One ember lands on the fuse. SSSS. Kwame and Garrick lock eyes over the keg. No words, only the shared understanding that every choice made 13 years ago has led to this single spark. The fuse burns. The screen freezes. Comment prompt flashes in white-hot letters. The fuse has 3 inches left. Do they cut it, kick the keg overboard, or let the past burn? Type your move now. The next second depends on you. Subscribe before the spark reaches the powder because this story ends live. The fuse hisses down to its last heartbeat of thread, then snuffs out between 2 wet fingers that smell of salt and gun oil. Silence falls so complete the ocean itself seems to pause mid-breath. For 3 full seconds, the only sound on the Crimson Wraith is the soft, stunned ticking of the broken compass now cradled in Kwame's palm. Garrick exhales, shoulders sagging like torn sails. The cutlass slips from his hand, clatters, and the blade points, unplanned, toward the east, where dawn is already bruising the horizon. Both men stare at the weapon as if it has just pronounced sentence on itself. Kwame breaks first. He kneels, drags the powder keg away from the hatch, and rolls it across the deck until it rests against the mast like a prisoner awaiting pardon. Then he straightens and meets Garrick's eyes. 13 years ago you gave me a direction, he says, voice rough with salt and smoke. Today I give you one, due east. Port-au-Prince. Courtroom. Schoolhouse. Garrick flinches as if struck, but the anger never comes. Instead, something older, weariness, maybe shame, settles into the lines of his face. I'll swing for what I did. No, Kwame shakes his head. You'll build 30 classrooms, one for every gun that didn't fire tonight. Brick by brick until the walls outnumber the chains. Behind them, the crew, pirate and liberator alike, watch in stunned silence. No one raises a weapon. The storm that might have scoured them all to memory has decided to spare them for a stranger fate. Flash forward 6 months later. Sunrise over the new stone arches of the Belle of Mercy schoolhouse. Children in crisp white shirts chase each other across a courtyard paved with ballast bricks salvaged from scuttled slaver hulls. Above the doorway, a single rusted compass face is set into the keystone, its needle frozen forever north by blood. In the doorway stands Garrick, gray-bearded now, sleeves rolled to the elbow, mixing mortar with hands that once cracked skulls. Beside him, Kwame, admiral no longer, teacher now, reads aloud from a primer. The ocean remembers kindness longer than cruelty. A small girl tugs Garrick's sleeve. Captain, why does the compass point north if north was where we came from? He kneels, voice gentle. Because north is where the story began. But east is where it grows. Cut 3 years forward. The same courtyard thrums with drums. But these are drums of celebration, not war. A brass plaque is unveiled. For every chain broken, a child set free. Among the names etched below, Black Garrick Builder, Kwame Ironstorm, Founder. Cut 10 years. An old man, Garrick, sits on the seawall at dusk, watching a new generation of sailors steer clear of the reef where the Crimson Wraith was quietly scuttled the night the fuse refused its destiny. The tide rolls in, carrying the soft clink of iron against stone. Ballast bricks still wearing the shadow of old chains. Beside him, Kwame, now gray at the temples, drops a small object into the surf. The broken compass glass, finally returned to the sea that once swallowed a boy. It glints once, then vanishes. Garrick speaks without looking away from the horizon. Do you ever wonder what happened to the rest of the crew? Kwame smiles. They became teachers, carpenters, lighthouse keepers. Turns out a second chance is more contagious than gunpowder. Silence stretches, comfortable now. The lighthouse lamp behind them sweeps its golden arc across the water. North, east, south, west. Completing the circle the compass never quite finished. But the camera lingers on one last unanswered thread. In the deep, where the crimson wraith rests. A single iron shackle still clings to a barnacle-crusted beam. Its lock open, its key gone. Somewhere in the darkness, a shark glides past, brushing the metal with a white belly that looks, for an instant, like a sail. Voice over, soft. Every story ends where it begins, at the edge of the sea, with a choice still echoing. Final on-screen text, no narration, the tide is rising. Where will your compass point next? Subscribe button pulses gently, shaped like a broken compass needle.